So we're going to go straight into it this week on Tuesday with the session. So I've got my easy run done on Monday. Feel like I've recovered enough from the 5 mile after the weekend to go and start that first session of the week. So we've got 10 by 3 minutes this evening, quite a big session. I typically do either a 6 or an 8, lots of 3 minutes session quite regularly. I'm quite used to doing this session. I get around 800 meters on these reps, depending how fit I am and depending what the recoveries are like. So I'm going to try and do the same but for 10 reps. So to try and extend my endurance in the speed side of things. So I'll be working that speed endurance during the session, but with doing more reps it will be more specific to say a 10k or a half marathon. I am expecting that I'll start to fatigue a bit towards the end of the session, so I will be going off a little bit more conservatively, so I probably won't get quite to 800 meters on these reps. In between each of the 3 minutes, I'm going to have 60 seconds as a really slow jog recovery. So this session I'll be working for sort of 30 minutes on and 10 minutes off in the total session. So it'll come to about 40 minutes and we'll be able to replicate my 10k race time, but we'll be working at trying to work at about 10k pace, maybe slightly under towards the end of the session. So back from the session now, and that went pretty well to be honest. So 10 by 3 minutes, took these at around that 10k pace, so around 6:20 per mile. So it's a good session. It makes a change in the session for me to not feel like completely gassed out by going off sort of too quick and pushing myself too hard. Normally I'd try and run these at under 6 minute miles, so I still feel that I've got a little bit left in the tank after the session and should recover fairly quickly from this. So with not having any races at the weekend, it was a chance for me to up my mileage a little bit this week and to work a little bit harder within the week as I had done on the past 2 weeks. So with that being said, on Monday went out and did just over 9 miles for an easy run. So typically these would be about 6 to 8 miles on a Monday. So I've upped the mileage a little bit from there. I obviously did that session on Tuesday, was a good interval session. Did get up to about 8-9 miles, so already on Tuesday I was on about 17-18 miles and on for quite a lot for the week. And one thing I did differently this week was on Wednesday I opted to do like a medium longer run, so had a bit of time on Wednesday to go out and do a bit of a longer run midweek in between sessions. So I took it completely easy pace because I'd sessioned on Tuesday and I did 13 miles at just about 7:40 per mile. So it was an easy sort of pace for me, but I did cover quite a few hills within this route, so it was nice to go and do that. Then on Thursday I had just over an hour of running before my coaching session. So did that hour at easy miling, was just over 8 miles, and then I joined in with the coaching session with James and that. So we did 2, 3, 4 minutes in a pyramid and then 3 and 2 minutes. So 14-15 minutes of work in that session with a few jog recoveries in there. So it was a shorter session for me. So I've got sort of 1.5 sessions in this week, which has been good. And then going into Friday, I went for an easy half an hour in the morning just to get out. We're off work Friday, which was quite nice to have that extra day off. And then did an hour with Ben, so just 7.5 miles at an easy pace there. So I was looking going into the weekend on quite a good mileage target and to take me into parkrun on the weekend. So today's parkrun is at Vicar Water Country Park.
Go right there, guys. As for our wonderful course, we do have the odd puddle. 3, 2, 1, parkrun! Go on, Lincoln. Come on. Come on. Let's go.
As you can tell by the level of sweat, I've just finished, but I'll put the video out of how this went a bit later on. So nice course here, really in near Sherwood. in the forest, so it's a lovely little loop round the lake. Thank you. Then a bit of a climb on a bit of a trail surface out, a little loop into the forest bit on a bit of off-road, bit of bark under floor, which slows you down a bit, but it's quite nice to run on. Yep. Thank you. Then there was a bit of a long out and back really, so the out bit was fine because it was sort of flat or slightly downhill. And then you had what they call it here, Mount Kilimanjaro, so a cross between Clipstone and Kilimanjaro obviously, and getting onto it was a bit of a climb up, so I felt that, well, this is all right, it's just a steady sort of gradual climb, and it reached a bit of a summit, but it was a bit wrong because there was another summit, so another little bit of a climb, which I did stop down and walk a little bit at the top of this, and then a third climb right up to the tops. Thank you. So once you got to the top, you had lovely views all over the local town, you're quite high up then, and then the last bit was a dash down to the finish, so a bit of a hurdle downhill for half a mile. So in terms of time wise, I was looking to go around 20 minutes, which I was on for that until the hill sort of wrote me off a bit. And I thought I was sort of probably tracking for about 2015, 2020. I thought, the sub 20 is probably not on here, but I forgot that that downhill finish did increase my time to the finish. I managed to finish in 2010, which my watch was measuring a little bit longer, so I was a little bit out on the splits. I thought that I'll be not too far off a sub 20 here, but 2010's not too bad. Probably got helped a little bit by Lola. She dragged me up the hill a bit rather than she normally hinders on the flat, pulling a bit, but yeah, she helped me out here and dragged me up that hill, so without her I think it was probably a 2020 or something like that. So yeah, it was a good little run here. I'm going to get a coffee and cake in the cafe called the Rumbles Cafe we just walked past, so looking forward to that. I then rounded the week off with a long run today on Sunday, so this was about 2 hours for me, so I was just under 16 miles, it's 15.7 miles, and because I'd done 60 miles going up to this within the week, this put me on about 75 miles a week, so that's the longest week mileage wise I've had since I've been out in Spain. So that was been about 3 months ago now, so really sort of increased the training and had a good week this week. I don't feel that I've had any niggles or suffered from being fatigued on that. It was just a case of having no races, feeling fresh, and having that extra day off work meant that I could get out a little bit more this week. So it's been a good week training wise. So training wise, it's been a good week. I've had one decent session on the Tuesday, sort of half of a session on the Thursday, and then a long run on the Sunday. So not having a long run for the last couple of weeks, it's been good to get this solid long run in with not doing races. So I'd like to going into next week. We've obviously got London Marathon next week, which I'll be going to spectate at. So I'll try and get my long run in on a Saturday this week, but still have a similar sort of 60 to 70 mileage target. Try and get that good quality session in midweek, and then get that long run in on Saturday. So see how I fare in next week's training, and I'll see you in next week's video.